A sister's rise. Could Infanta Sofia take the throne? What if the crown chose the quieter sister? On a crisp morning in Madrid, the cameras always seem to follow Princess Leonor. Every step she takes, onto a parade ground, into a historic hall, across the deck of a naval training ship, is recorded, analyzed, and archived as another chapter in the making of Spain's future queen. Yet, just half a step behind her, often smiling softly and saying little, walks another young woman whose destiny remains far less certain. Infanta Sofia. She is not the heir. She was not born first. Her name rarely leads headlines, and her future is wrapped in polite ambiguity. And yet, history has a way of surprising monarchies. Thrones have shifted, laws have changed, heirs have abdicated, and nations have reimagined their crowns when least expected. So here is the question few dare to ask out loud, but many quietly wonder: could Infanta Sofia ever become Queen of Spain? To explore this possibility is to step into a world where tradition meets modern law, where sibling bonds coexist with constitutional realities, and where the Spanish monarchy, still evolving in the 21st century, faces questions it cannot permanently avoid. This is not a tale of rivalry or ambition, but of structure, circumstance, and the silent power of contingency. Because sometimes, the most unlikely crown is the one that changes everything. The Spanish crown and the weight of birth order. To understand Sofia's place in the line of succession, we must first understand how the Spanish monarchy works, not in fairy tales, but in law. Spain is a constitutional monarchy, governed by the 1978 Spanish Constitution, which restored the monarchy after decades of dictatorship under Francisco Franco. Under this constitution, the crown passes through hereditary succession, following a system known as male preference primogeniture. This means, children of the monarch inherit in order of birth. Male heirs take precedence over female heirs. Among children of the same sex, the older inherits before the younger. King Felipe VI has two daughters. Princess Leonor, Princess of Asturias, born in 2005. Infanta Sofia, born in 2007. Since there is no male child, Leonor stands first in line, making her Spain's future queen, unless something extraordinary happens. Sofia, by contrast, is second in line. Not excluded, not insignificant, but constitutionally distant from the throne under normal circumstances. Yet monarchy has never been only about what is normal. Infanta Sofia, the princess without a script. Infanta Sofia de Borbón y Ortiz was born into history, but not destiny, at least not an obvious one. From the moment of her birth, she occupied a peculiar space. Too royal to live anonymously. Too far from the throne to be shaped entirely by it. Unlike Leonor, Sofia does not hold a historic title like Princess of Asturias. She is simply Infanta, a designation traditionally given to children of the monarch who are not heirs. This difference, though subtle, shapes everything. Education. Sofia's schooling has been less rigidly focused on statecraft. Public role. Her appearances are fewer and less ceremonial. Expectations. She is not expected to reign, only to represent. And yet, those who watch closely notice something intriguing. Sofia appears confident without being performative, warm without being political, observant, poised, and increasingly self-assured. In many ways, she embodies a modern royal archetype, one shaped by restraint rather than destiny. Ironically, that very quality could one day make her appealing in a moment of constitutional uncertainty. When history makes room for the unexpected, monarchies across Europe are filled with rulers who were never meant to reign. Queen Elizabeth II was not expected to become queen until her uncle abdicated. King Juan Carlos I of Spain himself was elevated through political maneuvering rather than direct succession. King Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands ascended after his mother abdicated voluntarily. The lesson is clear: the line of succession is not a guarantee, it is a framework. For Infanta Sofia to become queen, one of several extraordinary scenarios would need to unfold. Let's explore them. Scenario 1. Abdication of Princess Leonor. The most straightforward, yet emotionally complex, path would be an abdication. If Princess Leonor, for personal, health-related, or ideological reasons, chose to renounce her claim to the throne, the crown would pass to the next eligible heir. That heir would be Infanta Sofia. This scenario may seem far-fetched today, but abdications are no longer taboo. In modern Europe, they are increasingly viewed as responsible acts rather than betrayals of duty. If Leonor were to decide that royal life conflicts with her personal values, that she does not wish to reign, or that the role imposes an unbearable burden, the Constitution allows for renunciation. However, such a decision would shake public confidence, redefine the monarchy's narrative, place Sofia suddenly at the center of national life. The quiet sister would become the unexpected queen in waiting. Scenario 2. Constitutional reform and public pressure. Spain has long debated reforming its succession laws to adopt absolute primogeniture, where the eldest child inherits regardless of gender. If such reform were enacted retroactively, or accompanied by broader changes, it could open doors previously sealed. While this would not remove Leonor, it could reshape the monarchy's future in ways that elevate Sofia's importance, especially if Leonor's position were compromised. Moreover, constitutional reforms often emerge during moments of crisis. Political instability, public disillusionment with institutions, a desire to modernize national symbols. In such moments, the monarchy becomes not just a family, but a national argument. Sofia's relative distance from the spotlight could make her a compromise figure, royal, yet unburdened by years of scrutiny. Scenario 3. Tragedy and the unthinkable. History also reminds us that succession is sometimes altered by events no one wants to imagine. Illness, incapacity, or tragedy could remove Leonor from the line of succession. While such possibilities are deeply uncomfortable to discuss, they are embedded in constitutional planning. In this scenario, Sofia would not rise by ambition or reform, but by responsibility. She would inherit a crown shaped by loss, a nation searching for continuity, a role she never trained for fully. And yet, many monarchs who ascended under tragic circumstances became deeply respected precisely because they ruled with humility. The psychology of the spare. Infanta Sofia occupies a role known historically as the spare, a backup heir whose existence ensures continuity but whose life is defined by uncertainty. Psychologically, this position can produce greater personal freedom, less pressure to conform, a stronger sense of individuality. If Sofia were ever to become queen, she would bring a perspective shaped not by expectation but by observation. She would know what it means to support rather than lead, how public attention can distort identity, the cost of royal obligation without being consumed by it. This could produce a monarch who rules with empathy rather than entitlement. Public perception. Would Spain accept Queen Sofia? A crown does not exist without consent, especially in modern Spain, where republican sentiment remains strong. Public acceptance would depend on the circumstances of her rise, her perceived competence, her ability to embody unity. Interestingly, Sofia's lower profile might work in her favor. She has not been overexposed, politicized, or burdened with symbolic expectations. To many Spaniards, she could appear as a fresh start, a bridge between tradition and change, a monarch shaped by modern sensibilities. Sometimes, the absence of a predetermined image allows a leader to define themselves more authentically. Sisterhood, not rivalry. One of the most compelling aspects of this discussion is what it is not. There is no evidence, public or private, of rivalry between Leonor and Sofia. On the contrary, their bond appears strong, supportive, and deeply human. If Sofia were ever to rise, it would not be because she overtook her sister, but because circumstances reshaped destiny. This distinction matters. Modern monarchies survive not by drama, but by dignity. What a Queen Sofia might represent. If the unthinkable became reality, a Queen Sofia would symbolize the unpredictability of history, the evolution of monarchy, the power of preparation without expectation. She would likely rule not as a figure molded since birth for power, but as one shaped by adaptability. In a world skeptical of inherited authority, such a story could resonate deeply. The crown waits patiently. For now, the future remains clear. Princess Leonor is Spain's heir. Infanta Sofia is her sister, her support, and her constitutional backup. Yet history whispers a warning to every monarchy: never assume the line will remain unbroken. The crown waits patiently. Circumstances shift quietly. And sometimes, the sister who walks in the background steps forward, not by ambition, but by destiny. So, could Infanta Sofia take the throne? The answer is simple, unsettling, and profoundly human. Yes. Not because she is meant to, but because history has never promised certainty to any crown.